English File, Pre-Intermediate, by Christina Latham-Koenig and Clive Oxenden. 4.20. 1.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes. I'm terrified of bats.
Really? How long have you had the phobia?
I've had it for about 40 years. Since I was 12 years old. At my school we had a swimming pool, and the changing rooms were in an old building near the pool. On the first day at school, our teacher told us that there were bats in there and that we shouldn't move around too much as they might start flying around and get into our hair. She also said we mustn't turn the lights on because this would wake up the bats. We had to change as quickly and quietly as possible.
Did a bat ever fly into your hair?
No, nothing ever happened. But I was terrified just at the thought of it.
Does it affect your life at all?
Yes. I often feel very nervous or start to panic if I'm outside when it's beginning to get dark, which is when bats appear. If I'm sitting in my garden in the evening, I always have a tennis racket, so if a bat flies near me, I can protect myself. And I can't watch a TV documentary about bats, or even look at them in photos.
2.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I get very bad claustrophobia.
How long have you had the phobia?
It just started one morning about 10 years ago. I was going to work on the train, and it was very crowded. I started thinking that if there were an accident, I'd never get out. I had a panic attack, and I sort of felt my heart beating very quickly. I had to get off the train.
How does your phobia affect your life?
Well, I can't travel on crowded trains. I never ever travel on the underground because my worst nightmare would be if the train stopped in the tunnel. I also try to avoid lifts. What else? Oh, yes, if I'm flying, I must have an aisle seat. I can't sit by the window.
3.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I have a pretty unusual phobia. I'm scared of clowns.
Clowns? Really? How long have you had it?
I've had it for a long time, since I was a child.
How did it start?
Well, I remember I went on a school trip to the circus when I was 6 or 7 years old, and there were clowns. I thought they were sort of stupid, but I wasn't really afraid of them. Then I went to a birthday party, and there were clowns, and they were showing us how to paint our faces, and I found I didn't like being near them. At first, I just didn't like them, but over the years, my feelings have changed to fear.
Does your phobia affect your life at all?
Not really, because luckily I don't see clowns very often.
4.21.
Where do you live now?
In Manchester.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there for 20 years.
Where do you work?
In a primary school.
How long have you worked there?
I've worked there since 2005.
4.22. 1.
1984. Since 1984.
2.
5 months. For 5 months.
3.
3 weeks. For 3 weeks.
4.
Last week. Since last week.
5.
Yesterday morning. Since yesterday morning.
6.
20 minutes. For 20 minutes.
7.
I was a child. Since I was a child.
8.
2010. Since 2010.
4.23. 1.
For 10 years. Worked here for 10 years. I've worked here for 10 years.
2.
Since 2002. Lived here since 2002. We've lived here since 2002.
3.
Known him. Have you known him? How long have you known him?
4.24. 1.
How long have you worked here?
2.
They've been married for 20 years.
3.
She hasn't travelled by plane since 2005.
4.
How long has he lived in Italy?
5.
We've known them for a long time.
There are many different kinds of phobias, and they affect at least a quarter of the population. But doctors believe that they may soon have a cure. They have discovered that a drug which is given to patients suffering from tuberculosis can also help people to overcome their phobias. The normal treatment for people with strong phobias is some kind of exposure therapy. The most commonly used exposure therapy involves gradually exposing people to the object or situation that produces the fear. For example, if you have a dentist phobia, you might first sit in the waiting room of a dentist, then talk to the dentist, and then sit in the dentist's chair. These exposures are combined with relaxation techniques. However, exposure therapy does not work for everybody, and doctors think that the new drug, which causes changes to a part of the brain which is used in learning and memory, could be used in the future to make this therapy more effective. Michael Davis at Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia, did a study with 30 acrophobics, people who are scared of heights, and put them in a glass lift that appeared to go up and down. The people who were given the pill felt much less afraid than those who took a placebo.